Hello, my name is Ashley Watson, and I'm the team leader of the HMP Recruits. Also on this team is Sophie Duget, who will be going over the client introduction, Nikisha Ihanacho, who will go over the primary and secondary research, and Samuel Hayes, who will describe our findings. I will then conclude this presentation with an overview and some recommendations for the Hilltop Mentors program. So the purpose of this presentation is to talk about the Hilltop Mentors program regarding both recruitment and retention of mentors, including incentives and communication tools that can be used to increase participation. I will now hand it over to Sophie, and she will go over the client introduction.
Thank you. My name is Sophie, and I will present you the Hilltop Mentor program and the issue the team has been working on. So the Hilltop Mentor program is a group of faculty, staff, and undergraduate students volunteers who are matched with first-year students to help them with campus staff transitioning and to build relationship necessary for academic and social growth. The organization tries to match mentors and mentees based on academic discipline and similar interests whenever possible. Mentors and mentees are supposed to engage in regular meetings and attend group events together during each academic semester. So our focus is to solve the Hilltop Mentors program's problem about the lack of mentors. It is important since it could result in increased dropouts and a lack of efficiency of the program. So the team wants to assist in finding incentives that will attract and retain mentors, matching mentors and mentees according to their interests, and finding proper ways to communicate information to them. So now Nikisha is going to talk to you about primary and secondary research.
Hi guys, my name is Nikisha Ihanacho, and I am here to talk to you about our primary and secondary research. I am going to do a brief overview because Sam Hayes is going to come behind me and go more in depth with what we found. During our primary research, we initially wanted to send out 400 surveys. We wanted to receive back 200 and have a 95% competency level. From the onset, we knew that this wasn't going to work. So we only were able to send out 200 surveys. We received back 117, and we had a 91% competency level, which was still good. We based the survey clientele off of faculty and students here at the SEU campus. One of the things that we found when we started to analyze the survey is that we did not have any invalid surveys, so to speak, but we did have an invalid question. So for some reason, which we still do not understand today, the electronic copy of our survey, the question 8 was completely wiped off of the survey. So instead of making those particular surveys invalid, we just took question 8 out of the category altogether, so that when we got ready to analyze the survey, we wouldn't have any imbalance, so to speak. Once we started to analyze the surveys, we came across 4 key factors. Those 4 factors led us to our secondary research. They were incentives, retention, communication, and attractiveness. Now, in order for us to look at these, we have them as themes, but in order for us to look at these key factors, we also looked at scholarly journals, articles here at the SEU library, as well as other colleges. Now, when we looked at other colleges, we didn't look just to see about their mentor program, but we looked to see at their program as a whole. What were the key factors for retention? What were the key factors for incentives? What were the key factors for communication and attractiveness? Now that concludes my portion of the primary and secondary research, and I'm going to turn it over to Sam Hayes to go more in depth with the findings and conclusions.
Thank you, Jack. I'm Sam Hayes. I'm going to cover first the primary research that we came across as a result of distributing these 200 surveys. First of all, I'll stay on this side so y'all can see the graphs a little better. There was an overwhelming number of people who did not have any clue of any incentives or were not aware that the Hilltop Mentorship offered such great incentives that we're going to go into in just a second. Secondly, email, as far as communication goes, is the best form of communication, even still. We live in a technological age, and on our webmail or on our bars, there's always some kind of opening of the email. You can expect to hear about just about any program or anything you need to hear from a teacher or anything. So it reasons to believe that we can use that as a successful mode. And it reasons to believe that most people prefer that for educational reasons. Lastly, it addresses the information table and the bulletins around campus. We use those a lot, or the Hilltop Mentorship Program uses those highly in order to get new members and just tell about new information and new events that may be going on for those current members, as well as potential members. They'll tell them where to go or who to talk to in case they are interested. As you can see, there are, 21%, so there's nearly 80% of people either did not know of the information table or bulletin board, or they did not attend it. So that's a major problem just for getting information out to the masses. For secondary research, we realized a couple key things, and these scholarly journals in other schools, for example, that I used was Michigan, who had a fairly successful mentorship program that it's not purely monetary. It's not purely money that will give somebody incentives to being a part of such a program. The main things that we wanted to address was the addition to a resume, for new college students to be able to fulfill their portfolio requirements and ultimately get their credits to get out of the program that they're needing to do. And lastly was for networking purposes. The Hilltop Mentorship Program is extremely successful in creating a network of individuals, both amongst mentees and mentors, as well as the professionals above them who are managing the program. Email, again, most preferred. Reason to believe secondary research, Michigan State there, or Michigan supported that we found from the questionnaire. And then lastly, the attractions that are based on the incentives, which I just stated, the matching of mentors and mentees, and namely the lack of mentors for those mentees, and then the communication, which I just said was the email. Now I will give it off to Ashley to give you all some recommendations as well as to conclude.
Thank you, Zach. So the HMP Recruits have 4 recommendations for the Hilltop Mentors program. The first recommendation we have is to include new college students in the program. Our second recommendation is to provide clear incentives to mentors, both while recruiting the mentors and after they've already been recruited. Our third recommendation is to build a much stronger sense of community within the whole organization. This can be done by providing a larger number of events that are each smaller in order to stay within the budget of the program. And also this can be achieved by using a solid tool of communication, which leads us into our fourth recommendation, which is to continue the use of email both for formal and informal messaging. Now, I would like to go a little bit more into the new college population recommendation. We truly believe that this is our biggest key factor for increasing the participants in mentoring. New college students are full-time work and full-time school people, and they also, after talking with many of them, have a lot of volunteer activities outside of this. When we asked the Hilltop Mentors program, they thought that these new college students just wouldn't have enough time. But again, after asking many of the students, they did show high interest in participating. So we think this is a good way to reach out and bring a lot more people in just with that alone. So again, here are our 4 recommendations. I would like to sum up the presentation today. I went over the introduction of our group as well as the recommendations. Sophie Duget went over the client introduction. Nikisha Ihanacho went over the primary and secondary research, and Samuel Hayes went over the findings. We would like to thank you so much for listening and open the floor to any questions, comments, and concerns.